look at.
Okay, so let's go back to page 76 for a minute. At the bottom, let's go back to where we started. The job is living the abundant life God has crafted for you with intention, passion, and willingness to do whatever He's asked you to with a fine-tuned focus on His glory. So we're at the part of to do whatever He's asked you to. That's the part we're on. So what do y'all think about this vision word? I know that's kind of like crystals and all that kind of thing. You think that, but it's not. It's and it doesn't have to be a vision that you see in your head. It's what you think God wants you to do with your salvation, with your belief, with your what you believe in, and how He wants you to share it. And does anybody feel like they are have something they need to do? Like when I started this Bible study, it was constantly in my mind. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. That was to me God talking to me. You got to do this, and it kept popping up and kept things happening, and somebody would say something, and it's like that's how God speaks to me. How does God speak to y'all, or does He, or have you never heard God speak to you? Anybody want to share?
Well, sometimes I think about things that I feel like I want to do or I should do, and then I don't know, is that just me thinking that that's what I want to do or I should do or somebody should do, or is that Him? So speaking to me, for example, I passed by a what's it called, an extended stay, like a little motel, on the way to work, and there's like, I don't know, maybe four or five little rooms in there. And I have seen this kid, and it's an older kid, I'd say probably high school age, standing out there waiting for the bus. Like I've seen the bus pick him up, and it breaks my heart every time I see him. I'm thinking, here's a kid that didn't even really have a home.
Right.
He's they're in this place for a reason.
Right.
And so he doesn't have a home per se, and he's just standing out there at the bus stop, and I just always wonder and worry, like, I don't even think those places have maybe they have a microwave and a refrigerator, but there's no kitchen, there's no, and I just always wonder, like, does he have enough to eat? Does he have enough clothes? One of the days last week, he did have on a coat, like a toboggan and all that, but I don't know if it's just, like, I want to call the place and say, I know it's like probably a HIPAA violation and you can't tell me anything, but, not HIPAA, but whatever the word is, but like, how many kids are here, and you feel bad if you think it's because, parents are on drugs and you don't want to give money because you're afraid that they won't use it for the kids, they'll go use it for their drugs or whatever. But that's not that kid's fault if that is the reason why they're there. But I don't know if it's just somebody lost their job, they lost their home, and they're having to stay here. But
so what prevents
something
you
tells
from
me,
doing that?
I know, so something is telling me, like, you need to do something for that. And then I think about other things. I told you about I'd love to go on a mission trip and, do the cleft lip. It didn't even have to be that. It could just be some kind of surgery, and do that. So I've talked to Renee, because she does that every year. They go to Dominican Republic. So I know I might get to go with her. So there's like different things that I think about all the time doing. But
do you think that's God telling you that?
See, I think so.
I think that's you're feeling a natural burden for
Right.
for
That's
those
a
type
burden.
of people.
Right.
So
right.
that's gotta be.
Yeah.
Well, that in my just seems clear to me hearing you talk.
And just like she said, is it self-serving or is it for the good of others and the glory of God?
So you fact check
it
with
your
the
Bible.
Bible.
Fact check. Sounds like
I
fact
said
check.
fact check.
I didn't say
fact check.
fact check.
But that
and-
sounds to me like that's clear to me.
It's
It
clear
sounds
to
like
me
that.
too.
You're burdened for people that you
And
don't
you
know
know
if they're
what?
homeless or if they are just not homeless, but
Something.
And that might just be a phone call to the office of that place, and you can be anonymous or whatever, blessing that
to
person.
say what does this child
Right,
need? Or,
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's God speaking to you.
I think he's
definitely
definitely
think it is.
You know,
Right.
like
That's
right.
he could have easily just stopped going.
Right.
The fact that he's still out there every day trying to get out of that situation by going to school. You know,
It's just sad. I don't know, but so I think of things all the time. Like I said, I just don't know if it's me thinking of things that I should do or what should my purpose really be. I think of a bunch of different things. But
Well,
Do you think if you did these things that it would bring you joy?
yes, of course.
Abundant asking you to do these things and you do them in obedience, then it completely turns around to Him filling you up with joy and
Your cup
abundance.
gets full.
Your cup gets full because you're in obedience with Him. You bless somebody and He blesses you because you've done it. That's how this whole thing works. That's why you're living in abundance, because you're doing it for Him, doing it through obedience. If He's asking you to do it, if He's nudging you to do it, you know. Anybody else have anything else they feel like God's asking them to do, or to do whatever He's asked you to with a fine-tuned focus on His glory, which I think both those things will be for His glory, you know, personally.
Yeah.
Who else? Nobody? Nobody feels God saying anything? And that's fine. She talks about being in the shadows. I don't know if anybody that read that. Did y'all read that?
Yeah.
Where it's a time of you're in the shadows, where you're just kind of back and you're having, like she was talking about, they wanted to quit. Quit being a preacher and quit the church, and they were having a hard time. And they were
she
in
said
the
he waited 2 years for a dream.
And then she talked about that, waiting.
That's why I looked at you. It was like 2 years.
2 years, and
After 2
you know,
years.
and that's a big deal. It's in God's timing, and maybe He just wants to grow you during this time, during the shadows, and
Or heal you.
And when you get to that point where He wants you, He's gonna, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. You're ready. You know, and that's exciting to me. That's exciting to think that He's gonna heal me or help me through this, and maybe exactly. And then in the end, I'm gonna be better for it because He's got me where He wants me. He's refined me. The word is sanctification. I mean, He's made you more like Him. Remember we had the pennies, and one's dark and one's light. He's shining the penny and making us look like Him so He can use us better for Him. Does that make sense?
It's restoration.
Do you ever struggle to believe that God wants to give you vision or insight? Do you struggle to think that why would He use me? What am I good for?
Yeah.
I mean, who am I? I have no gifts. I have no talents. I'm a bunch of weaknesses. You know, we've all, let's all be honest.
I'm a sinner. Why not pray?
I'm a sinner. Why would He use me? I don't have anything. I can't preach like that person. I can't sing like that person. I can't teach like that person. I don't have anything.
But we all have something. that
We
we
all
can
have
do.
something. When you are saved and you believe in God and He becomes your Savior, you are filled with spiritual gifts, whatever that is, and He wants to use those for the good of Him, the good of others, and the glory of Him. So if y'all have never had, has anybody taken a spiritual gifts class before? Do you even know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you should have brought that. Do you have that thing?
When we're saved, we're given spiritual gifts. It's biblical. I can find it, but it's things like service. It's things like prophecy. What else, Marcia? Giving.
Preaching. Is the
prayer.
encouragement one?
Encouragement is one. Yeah, exhortation is the word. Encouragement. There's a whole list of them. They're in the Bible, and I've taken classes on them. And you can take personality classes, tests, and it tells you what your spiritual gifts are. You can Google it online. It's
I
really
read
interesting.
about it. I just never taken
Mhm.
the time
It's
to do
very
that.
interesting to find out, and you go, oh, that's why I think that way. Oh, that's why I'm like that.
Yeah.
Do that then.
Gifts
You need
of,
to do it.
yeah,
You-
Google it.
She's probably, you've got it. They could probably see it after.
I don't have it with me.
But you got the one from, oh no, not on you.
No, but when you are saved and become a Christian, it says the Bible, He gives you these gifts, and they are to be used for His glory and the good of others. And that's what we're talking about. That's why you're the girl for the job. That's why I'm here teaching this, because one of my gifts is teaching. Who knew? I teach at work. I love it because it's one of my gifts. I love precepting because that's what I like to do. I like doing this. I like preparing. I like because God's given me that gift. And one of my gifts is discernment. I can look at people and almost tell you what you're thinking. It's almost like reading minds. I've always been able to do it, but I feel like God uses that so I can encourage people and say, you know, I know you're feeling bad today, you look off today, or whatever. God uses these things so He can be glorified and uses your gifts. Marcia has a gift of mercy. She's so tenderhearted and loves on everybody and hugs everybody, and encourages everybody, and she sees everybody that she's having a bad day today. Oh, okay, what do we do? You know, well, I'm totally oblivious. You know, or it's her birthday. We need to say happy birthday. Oh yeah, okay. She keeps me in line because I don't think of those things. I just don't, y'all. I'm on the top, you know. But that's her gift, and she has the gift of giving. She gives a gift to everybody for everything. She's gonna have a gift. That's her gift, you know. She gives people things, and it's just real interesting. I encourage you to Google that. It's called a spiritual gifts test, and it really tells you what you are spiritually and what God wants to use in you because He's given you these things. So, do you struggle to believe that He wants to give you vision? I mean, maybe not. Have you ever heard from God in the past?
Yes.
How do you know it was God?
Cause it all just worked out.
Yeah.
It just, all the fear and doubt and hesitancy and that we may have shoved down in us, and we just, and it just, everything just worked out really. So
That
that's
was
how it was
God.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
That, you know, just,
Exactly.
Because you can like exhale after you do whatever it is you think God's
When
telling
you know it's right. When
and
you-
it just
when you-
feels from head to toe like, okay,
Right.
yeah, that was right. Yeah, that's
It's like, you know, and I think through the study I've gotten more purposeful of saying, okay, well, like for instance, I use Marsha a lot because we're close. Like she got fired a few weeks ago and it really upset her. And I said, Marsha, that's God's protection. Let's look at it for what it is. Let's trust that He's in charge of this and He's pushing you to the left or the right and He's taking care of this. That's His protection from this patient, which it was because she was an awful patient. And I said, be thankful you're out of that room, you know? And she took it personal as, you know, I've never been fired and she hates me. And I would too. I've been there. I did the same thing. But if you step back and think, well, God's in control. He's got my day. He's pushing me to the left and the right, just like the verse says. Then I'm going to trust that this is what He wants for me and this is His will, good or bad. That He's protecting me. He's moving on me like somewhere else. You know. Do y'all ever get that feeling sometimes?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have a good
Yeah.
example of that. This
What
was
is-
probably about, I don't know, it's probably been 10, yeah, it's been 10 years ago. Cause she sends me a sweet little message every year on her son's birthday. But one day I was at work, it was like a Saturday, and, that was back when our nursery was where the command center was.
Right.
And so, you know, all the babies were kept in there, and I was sitting at the desk. I think at that time I was doing a lot of secretarial work and still scrubbing too. But anyway, so everybody like had babies sitting all out, how we used to just sit on there. I mean, back then we had them in swings and all kinds of stuff. Amen, shut all that
We were
down.
babysitting.
We were. We had bouncy seats up on the cabinets. It was a hot mess. But anyway, so a baby did one of those projectile vomit that went across the room. Well, I was working with not such a good group of weekend nurses at that time, and these people I don't even think work there anymore. But anyway, made the biggest mess, and one of the nurses says, well, the tech can clean it up. And I was like, okay, I'll clean it up. But I thought, how rude.
Yeah.
She just acted like, well, you're not a nurse, you're just a tech, so you can, you know, you can do
Right.
that. So I did. And then I just sat there and it was dumb, but I really took it personal. And I thought, well, I'm just not going to do anything today because I'm not important. And I even said, I'm going to sit over here and paint my nails. And I did. I painted my nails and I just had that, woe is me,
Right.
you know, Eeyore, I'm no good, I'm nobody because I'm not a nurse. And so we had a C-section. So did the C-section. It was over. We were transporting the patient from the bed. This was when it's probably more than 10 years ago. It was back when the OR was down by
Another
Route 9.
corner.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And so we were transporting the patient from the OR table to the bed, and she just completely coded, flatlined everything. So we got her back on
Yeah.
the bed, and I did CPR on her. And at that time, I was a CPR instructor, but every class, have you ever done CPR? No. And they were like, well, then you don't know what you're doing, you know. So I did chest compressions on her for like 3 minutes or so. And of course, the whole
That's
co-team
exhausting.
came in and everything. It was, but you know what? I thought I felt her heart beating underneath my hand, and when I looked up, you could see it on the thing. And she lit. She went to ICU, and it was she had pneumonia, she was overloaded with fluids, it was a bunch of stuff, they found out she had an underlying heart condition. But still, God showed me that day,
You
don't
are-
think
Yeah.
like that.
Right,
You
yeah.
don't have to be a nurse or a
Right,
doctor or
right.
a whatever.
Yeah.
He
Shows you
will
your
use
value.
Yeah.
plain Jane to
Yeah.
do something, you know, to do his, and I know it was all
Absolutely.
God, it was not me saving her.
Right.
It was God working through
Yeah.
me, but I thought he was showing me right then
Right.
that you
So
are
he
important.
confirmed for you.
Yes.
And that was the next question.
Yes.
Did you get confirmed by
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
And it was like,
100%.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
God, I am valuable. I am
Yes.
your child.
Yes.
I have gifts that I can
Yes.
share.
Yes.
That's a
And-
perfect
and
example.
You have an example from T this week with her job and stuff. I think that's important. Share it. Or you want me to?
I heard, what?
Okay. This is what happened. This is what happened in Ruth's world this week. This was so God. One day, one of her daughters called her. Well, the youngest one, since you know Ray is working, called her upset. She got let go, got fired from her job, whatever, waiting tables or something. And just out of the blue, so she was distraught, upset. Ruth had to pick her up and encourage her, and she did, like the good mama she is. Hung up, and then Ruth is like, why don't she ever get a break? We got constantly, blah, blah, blah. She just has to work so
Oh, yeah.
hard, and blah, blah, blah. Well, meanwhile, T is taking the praxis or whatever to get
It's
her.
like a SAT.
Yes, but it's
A big,
hard.
an
It's
NCLEX,
it's
a big test.
it's like an NCLEX thing for teachers,
Right.
and there's several parts to it. Well, anyway, she had passed one part. She had taken before, and if you had enough total points, you could not take the third part or something. But she took the second part a couple weeks ago, and anyway, so this very same day, she's all distraught and all this. She gets an email or something. Taryn gets an email or something that says that she had passed the next part and she had enough points. If you had like 648 points, she didn't have to take the third part and she'd get a total pass. Guess what? How many points she got? 648 on the dot, no more, no less. So there on that very day, she got fired. And why can't she ever get a break? God gives her this. Well, you don't have. You're done. You can just go into your next thing.
Yeah, and that was a lesson for me. God's always in control. And then I spoke it to her. You know, look what happened. But God has you in the bigger things, and He's going to take care of you. And it it's like God slapped me because I was frustrated too. Like,
Come on, Jesus.
what? It's like
We're doing it right. We're doing what you asked us.
Right.
We're doing what you asked us.
What else I gotta do?
But
But
He knew all along she
He
was
knew,
gonna pass.
and He always does, and we always go, oh,
Oh,
Right.
sorry.
Yeah.
sorry.
But sometimes it feels like he
You
shows
know.
up in the 9th hour of 10 hours. You know, you just want him to show up in the first or second.
Yes.
You know, he comes through.
Well, and I try to speak that and live that, but I don't always. On page 2 of 7, it's one of my favorite verses, Isaiah 30:21. Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." So I have to trust these things that happen, like being fired from a patient. I have to trust that God's telling me, okay, don't walk that way, let's go this way. And because He says it right there, this is the way, walk in it. So even if it's bad or looks bad or seems bad, let's trust that He's saying, this is the way I want you to go. Because He loves us and cares for us and wants good for us. And even if bad things happen, because the world is broken and bad things are going to happen, He's still telling us which way to turn and which way to go. And He's got us. I have an imaginary, thing, or I have it in my head. It was a vision a long time ago, and I see it all the time. It's like lights, a string of lights around me, just around me. And I just pray that, Lord, just stay around me, and walk with me, and be the light around me, protect me, And it's like, that's what this verse is. I'm turning you to the left. I'm turning you to the right. I'm behind you. I can imagine Him like His hand is on the small of my back. And somebody that loves you puts their hand on the small of your back. They're guiding you. If it's your husband or your child or whatever. And we do it to our children. How many times do we put our hands on their head or on the back and lead them? That's what God does for us. He's showing us which way to go because we are His children. That's the way it is. Is there a time when God gave you insight or vision into a hard or an amazing season and it's really helped you?
I think my brother going through his recent divorce
Mhm.
has really opened up because he hasn't been a part of our family
Really?
for such a long time, even though he's close,
Yeah.
physically close. And I guess when you say, you know, you hear the call, I just kept feeling like, you know, he has not made the phone calls to my kids on their birthday.
Right.
He hasn't been there in support of this.
Right.
And he hasn't, like,
Right.
he has not been the brother or the uncle or the, you know,
That
the
you wanted
person
to be.
that, you know,
Mhm.
we expect not, you know, not like my sisters have been, you know, like,
Mhm.
you know, and a lot
It's
of
easy
it's
to be
because
hurt by
he
that.
was, because he was always, you know, defending his wife, you know,
Right.
instead of being part, okay, we're doing what she wants, it's all about her,
Right.
and never including with, you know, the cousins, you know, everything, like, no, it's all about her, and never including in our family, you know, our big family gatherings and everything, and it, you know, it took a toll, like,
Mhm.
but all of a sudden, he started going through this, and I was like, I even told him, I said, you have not been a part of my life in such a long time, and I have resented you
Mhm.
for years, but I love you and I'm here for you every step of the way. And we have been, these past couple of
Aw,
weeks have
that's
been
sweet forgiveness.
awesome.
Yeah. So it's turned out amazing.
It's turned out amazing, and he actually, for the first time in 15 years, went to Elevation on
Wow.
Saturday night.
That was
That's
good.
very
So
good.
God's
That's
using
so
that
good.
bad thing and turning it into a good
Exactly.
thing.
And we've seen my nephew, you know, their cousins have been together every other weekend since this has happened, and they have never, like, we may have seen each other on Christmas Eve, maybe on
That's
one
really
time over the
cool.
summer, just.
So
and
God
it's
had the
just-
plan all along. I mean, maybe not for the divorce, but He's using it for good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Everything that, you know, she is bipolar, so he has lived
Yeah.
with that,
Yeah.
you know, just a long time, and it just come to a head of, we can't do this anymore. And, you know, as hard as that is for him, and as hard as her parents are buying their house, so she can still live in it, so he's like, so I'm still not ever separating from the house that we, you know, like, just,
Right.
you know, finally he can, come on, be a part of this, call him up, hey, why don't you guys spend the night they spent the night this past weekend, you know, just
That's cool.
come.
That's
It's
cool.
not
And it's a
easy.
blessing.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Does anybody have something, well, you just kind of shared, anything that they feel like they should be doing or that God's calling them to do, maybe in the near future, maybe not now, but is there something on your heart or anybody? Or are y'all just just waiting to find out? Which is fine too. I'm just asking if anybody wants to share.
I kind of do, but I don't know when. And I don't even really know what it looks like. But you talk about having vision, and I've told you this. It's not. I don't just say I have a vision, but I see things, and I think I hear more from God in my dreams, or as I'm maybe not always asleep but waking. Sometimes I have a verse in my head that I don't know where it came from, but I know it's a verse. And I've told Ruth that, and I've had a couple times here lately where I just see a big hand, like a palms up hand, and I was like, it's gotta be God that I see, and like I guess that's symbolic that He's got me, you know. And I don't want to cry.
It's okay. You don't have to tell it.
No, I mean,
It might encourage others.
I'm going to some therapy right now because I'm crazy. No, anyway, but it's underlying a whole lot of different things, and it's going in a different path than what I went for, but it's good. We're doing whatever the EMDR stuff. I don't even know it's EM something. I don't know. Anyway, and
I
unpacking
was
some
gonna say
stuff.
that, do not resuscitate whatever you just said.
Not DNR. Anyway, it's unpacking a whole lot of skeletons that I've packed away real tight and nicely for a long time. And you know, I think he's gonna heal me of this. And I told Ruth, I just feel like I'm being, that I'm gonna use this to talk to people about it, and which that totally doesn't even make sense because I don't like talking to people in front of people because I stutter and I stammer just like, and I can't think of words, and you know, just like prayer. But I think that
You might
the
feel that we
between
don't
the,
hear it.
huh?
You may feel like you stutter and stammer, but we don't hear it.
Well, anyway, between my horrible first marriage that I went through and infertility, I just feel like somehow he's going to heal all this, and I just feel like that that he wants me to talk to people, and I don't know on what kind of level that is. But I have a vision for Ruth too, that he's going to be a big old white tent like they used to have at the Crusades in the shopping center that Mama used to drag us to. She's gonna have a big old white tent here, not like a big old wedding white tent. And then we're gonna have a bunch of chairs under there. That's my vision for her. But it's gonna be in the front yard
Maybe
too.
it's a wedding for Reagan.
Yeah, okay, no, but it's more like it was Kmart parking lot.
Okay.
Crusade.
Whatever.
But anyways, I don't know what it looks like, but anyway, I think right now I'm just kind of in the not shallows.
Shadows.
Lady
Shadows.
Gaga.
I'm not trying to be Lady Gaga. No, anyway, but I just think I'm in like a healing state right now, but maybe down the road maybe it'll use it for something when I'm
But
ready.
I think it's cool how God's already placed that thought in your mind. Like He's preparing you, even if it's next year or 2 years or whatever. He's like already putting that thought there. Like,
I don't know. I was scared when I told Ruth because
You tell it, you gotta do it.
I know.
I know. Last time I told her something, I had to start praying in front of other people. Because she asked me the other day, I started telling her, and I started like, no, I'm not going to, I can't really say this because I'm going to work on it. And then I at the pulpit and, with Billy Graham. No. Anyway.
Anybody else feel like God's
Kristen?
calling them to do anything? And
I mean,
maybe
I
not.
feel like I'm in a very similar place as you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I've not been through the things that I've been through for nothing.
Right.
And some were decisions that I made somewhere, and I know that they'll be used. But I still have some healing to do too.
And that's okay. Like she talked about, you're in the shadows right now, and God gives you strength and joy in the shadows while He's growing you and while He's getting you ready. I think. I know for the longest time we left a church of 20 years for various reasons and went to another church, and we sat. And I thought, well, I need a break. I'm tired, because in the first church we were very involved, probably overly involved, and then we were just tired, and it was time for a season of rest, and I accepted that. I said, this is good, God lets us rest, and I thought a couple years, and we'll sit here a minute and not do anything and just be fed. Well, that turned into 7 years of doing nothing, and then I thought, okay, I started to get restless in my spirit, and God's like going, you need to get up. It's time. You're rested. And things happened, and we ended up leaving that church and going to this new church that is absolutely wonderful, and I feel like God's going to use us there in a big way. So, but it's funny how, 7 years, it was 7 years of doing nothing. We would worship, and I was in the Word and praying, but I wasn't serving anybody except myself and my family. And I think God allows that. I think that's what she's talking about, the shadows, where I just didn't want to do anything, y'all. I was worn out. I didn't want to feed anybody. I didn't want to say God is good. I didn't want to do all that. I just wanted to sit. And that had to be okay. And I know it was. And I think God was saying, okay, just rest. Just rest. I'll use you when you're ready. I'll use you when I'm ready. And now here I am 7 years later, and I thought,
Now
okay,
you're making up for it.
right. I said, I can't do this anymore, because I believe so wholeheartedly in God. He is my God, and I have to let others know that in some form, whether it's breaking bread or this Bible study or going to church and being in a women's group there or whatever, or just sharing with people, friends with my kids, you know? And because I think if God is in you and He is your Savior, that He's not gonna let you sit there and soak. That's what our preacher says. You know, in our church, he says, we don't sit and soak here. We have work to do. There's a world out there that's lost that needs Jesus, and we're the ones that have Him, you know? So it's really lit a fire under me, and, but if you are in that time of rest and that season of just waiting, you know, that's fine too. God uses those times to grow us and to, make us more like Him during those times.
So I got an email Thursday from the teen youth leader that said, we want you to lead a small group for our life team.
Awesome.
Good.
But I only work weekends because my husband travels during the week. And so I went back to him because I chaperoned their retreat and
Right.
and whatever have you, he came back and said, we want you to join the group. And
Right.
I wrote back and I said, I can't fulfill a weekly group commitment because I do only work weekends because of my husband's schedule. But I want to be involved someplace else. Can you, I said, whether it's, you know, if there's retreats or there's activities, I can plan around, but that weekly commitment of being in charge of the group,
Right.
I just can't, you know, it's not fair to them not to have
Right.
a leader there, a leader that's absent. Like that's not.
So maybe
Yeah,
God's going,
so-
okay, no, let's go
so,
this way.
So yeah,
You
so I'm
know?
hoping there'll be like a ping pong, like well,
Right.
we can't do this, but come back,
Right.
you know.
But something's
We'll
there
do
that
this.
He wants you to do, right?
But there's something,
Mhm.
and it's
That's exciting.
That's good,
revolved
that
around,
is.
you know,
Because you're a
because I
teacher.
put myself out there because I love going on those retreats.
Right.
I love just seeing God work through the kid who's sitting in the back, not
Exactly.
doing anything, and by the end of the retreat, leading the prayer for the group, and you know, crying with somebody else, saying, you know, I can't believe I've been such a sinner, and now
Right.
I really, you know, like
Right.
just seeing that transformation and what, just hearing other people's stories and just prayer and silence and being in the presence of God and just seeing how those transform, especially our vulnerable
And
youth.
it'll be what it's
Um,
supposed to be. You know, I think I'll pray for that for you. That's very exciting.
So I don't know what it will bring.
Yeah, but God knows.
Something.
Mhm.
Something's stirring.
I just felt like, what am I saying no to God by turning down this weekly thing? But I can't, you know, unless I quit the hospital. Like, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, I wouldn't be able to fulfill a weekly commitment. So I felt really bad.
I think that's,
No,
I
don't,
think
don't
that-
feel bad.
I did
Don't
feel
feel
bad.
bad. Don't do that, because that's him. That ain't him.
I think
You
that.
just pray for how
um,
he can use you in what capacity there.
Or
But
he
don't
make
feel
a way.
bad or guilty, because guilt don't come from God. That's from
He can
him.
make a way.
Right?
but, Yeah.
Yeah. But I have to
But
do it.
don't talk to
I
you
know,
about
I do
that.
guilt too.
I think
God
you're the
does.
girl for the job.
But
And
no.
whatever that job turns out to be, that's exciting.
I think so.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Manu's got, what are you gonna do, Manu?
Be pretty.
She is pretty.
She is pretty.
Always.
Be
She's
fashionable.
burdened for her country.
I know. So you're the prayer warrior.
Yeah, you are, because every time we start to pray for my country, and I do.
And it's
And
on
I
our
think-
prayer chain.
I
we
think
pray for
and that's a spiritual gift, is being a prayer warrior.
Mhm.
And I think that's what I see in you anyway, and that's what you should be doing right now. That's your burden. So you lift them up. You remind people to lift them up. You pray for them constantly.
Mhm.
And I think that's what God has you doing right now. I think that's good. That's a good thing.
You know, I feel that from childhood always He was talking to me, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was talking to me, He was telling me something. But in my country, I didn't have any opportunity to know Him better
Mm-hmm.
because of our government. They didn't let us
Right.
to do anything
Really?
and knowing the Jesus.
Right.
Up to the time I came here. Before that, there was some channels on TV, satellite, I remember my mother and I, we were watching, especially one of the channels, the name of that was Muhabbat TV. Muhabbat in Farsi means like kindness, kindness to people. We were watching that and they starting to singing in Farsi about Jesus, and we really liked that. And I was talking to them, how much that's pretty. That means this is just Christianity, not more than this. And my mother told me, yes, that's good. I love that too. Up to the time I came here, I went to the church, and I was overwhelmed but with everything. I was thinking, oh my goodness, I should learn all of this from childhood, and I didn't have any chance. I was so happy, and always I'm thinking I should do something. I should serve to the people, for example, in my country, about Jesus, about all of these. I'm doing something in my page. I'm talking about how much, for example, I do not like to be destroying, for example, other people's beliefs, but they should know that how much Islam is worse, how much that's bad, and especially about women,
Wow.
how much.
You have such a mission field.
This
Yeah.
just, like, I know you
I'm
said
in
you're more of
awe.
a behind the scenes doing the prayer
Uh-huh.
work, but this thought just came to me. Have you ever thought about asking to send like some sort of care package? Is there somebody back home that you could say, you know, I'm doing a fundraiser at work for a care package, and you mail 25 Bibles, you mail certain books, you mail, like,
But that's the
Is
hard
there
part for her
something they
country
can
is
do?
they're punished for having Bibles.
Yeah,
and
they
believing
can't have
God.
a,
They'll arrest
yeah,
you.
they would get arrested for
Yeah.
having a Christmas tree.
A
They,
Christmas
they
tree,
took their
you go to
Bibles,
jail.
they had to do everything in private.
Yes,
Oh,
that's the hard part of that.
I have seen in the streets in Iran, for
They'll kill
example, some girls, they had small Bible,
Yeah.
they come to the street and give to the people. And if government see them, they arrested. I remember. Even I remember one time my sister got one of those in the street, and she brought that to the home, and we were, I remember, we were reading that. And that was in Farsi, and I was saying, oh my goodness, that's good. That is not look like Islam and so much, difficult and everything bad about women. That if I tell you, because especially when I was studying in university, I was educating in international law, and we had some lessons about law in Islamic law. When you read that, you were confusing how much these are bad, and all of that is about women, and they should punish women just because of these things. If I tell you, you never believe that. You would be surprised, confusing. But that's truth. That's in Islam.
And we can just go to church and read and not worry here, but over there.
Right.
You can do
Oh my
everything you
gosh.
like. All the women, they have freedom here, and that's very difficult for you to understand how much Islam make Muslims under pressure, even women.
So now you putting things, writing things on your page though, for them
Yes,
to
I
see
try
and
to
read,
do that.
that's ministry.
They
That's-
see that.
Oh, yeah, that is.
That's being
that is
on
your
mission.
testimony.
And you
That's
can
your
say anything
testimony
you
for
want on
them.
your page, they can't do, I mean, but I also see you as a prayer warrior. I mean, just, we can pray and pray and pray to God about this, and all of us can join you in that. And I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm thinking, we are so blessed
Oh, yeah.
to be able to do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
without worried about somebody coming there.
Exactly, and throwing guns in our face, and and I think us growing up, me growing up in the church since I was born, I don't know anything different, and I think
take it
we
for
do
granted,
take it
though.
for granted that we have the right to worship and to speak life and to be a Christian out loud, and
All of the religions,
yeah.
they have freedom.
Yeah, and I think it kind of makes me feel like I should get up and do more. That kind of lights a fire under me. Like, what are we doing, y'all? We're so blessed to have this, and they,
They want to and can't.
right?
I really had no idea. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
But I heard that a lot of them are changing from Islamic to Christianity, so that's good. So
I heard there's a big movement.
something's
Yeah.
happening over there.
God's happening. Mm-hmm.
And know, the kind of religious in Iran we have, that's the name of those are Baha. And Iran is look like a hell for them because government is bothering them a lot. Even they do not let them to educate, to study.
Yeah.
And they should study at home, not going to schools. And but even they educate at home, government come and arrest them. The teachers, the student, while you are educating.
So sad.
That is sad. Well, you're the girl for the job.
Yes.
I see that.
I had no idea.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought thinking about that. That's sad. All right, so vision. So we've all kind of spoken of what we think God may want us to do. And I feel like that's part of the abundant life is when you're living in what He wants you to do. When He calls you up, you're thinking, what? I can't do that. I can't. But you have to think, well, you know what? No, you can't do it, but I can do it for you. If God is asking you to do it, then He's gonna give you the tools to do it. He's gonna give you the knowledge to do it. He's gonna give you what you need to do it. He's not gonna say, okay, do this and walk away. You know, it's like this whole Bible study thing. My first thought was, I can't do that. I'm not gonna do that. I don't know how to teach that. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I did that for how many, 2 3 weeks, and God kept saying, you need to do a Bible study. You need to do a book study. You need to have people. No, I can't do that. Well, why am I telling God of the universe that I can't do it? You know, it's kind of stupid if you think about it, because if He's asking you to do it, He's gonna take you to it and get you through it. And then it gets so loud in my head that I can't not do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's God. That's vision. That's how I describe it. God speaks to me through people, through my daughter a lot, and that child, Lord, y'all pray for her, because He's going to use her in a big way. She just doesn't know it yet. She's out playing 21-year-old, but she's gonna. Anyway, she speaks. God just speaks right through her to me a lot. It happened this week, and I'm like, are you gonna spin your head? Because you know, is your head gonna spin because that was God coming out of your mouth? You know, and it's just very. So I don't know how God speaks to y'all, but that's kind of. And He uses songs for me and music and things and sermons, and it can be anything. It can be. I don't know if you read the book, but it can be, you know, a song. It can be a word from somebody. It can be something you see, but you know it's God. You just get that feeling, and you just know it's God. You know. He speaks to me through pennies that I pick up. We talked about that earlier. All the time, there's a penny. God reminded me, you're in my image. I got you. I love you. Trust me. And that's how I see it. I see that as God telling me that. And I just know that's what it is for me and God, is those little pennies. And I've got tons of them. I just find them. And it just makes me so happy. It's like God saying. And whatever it is for you, that's vision. That's, you know, does that make sense?
Yes.
My brother sent me a picture Saturday night. He parked in a parking spot. He opened up the door, and there was a penny sitting on the ground. He took a picture, and he's like, "So you think I'm supposed to be here?" I was like, "Yep."
See? See? And that's, you know, I think sometimes, Lord, and sometimes I pray, Lord, I'm stupid, give me something, you know?
Yeah.
Give me a word, give me something tangible versus a feeling, you know? Because sometimes I don't trust my feelings.
Right.
I mean, is that just me thinking because I want to do it or what, you know? So I always play the stupid card and say, hey, Lord, I need more than that. Give me something, you know, a fleece. I don't know if y'all know that story in the Bible about a fleece, but it's like, show me something that I know this is you. And right now I've got another burden on my heart, and we'll see where that goes. I don't know. But anyway.
What does that mean?
Huh?
What's your burden?
I don't want to say.
Well, we all share.
No, I'm not ready.
Next week,
Next
close
week.
out with your
Next
big
week.
vision.
Next week. So, Marcia got us some glasses for our visual this week. Take a pair of glasses, pick out a favorite pair. And you keep them. I don't know if y'all need them. They're reading glasses.
They're readers. You Don't even look for us. This pick. What
Just
is
know
what
it's
this
I'm,
one?
I'm a 125.
No,
Saying keep her.
No,
She
I
was the one that
just
she
want
could
you.
get.
I don't want you to look at what they are. What the strength. I don't want you to look at the strength.
We're
of
gonna
it.
take
That's
a
the
picture.
thing.
She wants purple.
She wants purple.
I don't want you to look at the
I
strength.
guess that this
You
is
get
a
the
strong
purple.
one.
Did you take the?
Two was.
What's yours?
Now,
What
they're
you got?
reading glasses,
That's what
but,
you
you know,
do.
it is
Yeah.
what it is. The point of this is vision, you know, all these are different kind of,
Strength.
strengths and different flavors and different colors. I know, they're for reading, but they're all different strengths and different flavors and different colors, and we picked what we liked, you know, but
Matches your shirt.
the point is, everybody's vision is different. Everybody's strength is different. God's going to give you something different versus what He gives you, and He uses our gifts to do that. So this is kind of a visual of, you know, mine's stronger than yours, but He's giving you what you need, you know, and He's going to give you the vision that you need.
Mine is two.
I don't know what mine is. 275. So whenever you take these home and you see them, you remember that God has something for you to do, and let Him ask Him for a vision. The book in here, she said, have you asked Him? Have you ever asked Him for a vision? If you ask Him, you better be ready, because you're gonna get it. So don't do it till you're ready. But when you think, Lord, what do you want from me? What do you want me to do? Show me, give me a vision, or have somebody speak to me, and I know that's you. You know, it's exciting. I wait for it. Sometimes I'm going to work and say, Lord, overwhelm me today with you, with your presence, with something, with a word, with a patient, with something that, you know, and He will every single time, because He wants to bless us. We are His children. He loves us just like you want to bless your children every day, and you want to take care of them. That's what He wants to do for us. He's our Father, and He wants to love on us, and He wants to use us because we're the girl for the job. Let's pray. So y'all got some pretty glasses.
Hang on to them, because we're gonna take
We're
pictures.
gonna
We're gonna
take
take pictures with them.
Do we need to take the sticker off?
And I
Yeah,
got,
you can.
I got a lot for those that didn't
I
get
know,
them.
may want to change mine
I
out.
think I'm gonna get a louder
A louder pair.
color.
Yeah.
I'll close. Anybody want to close? Okay. Father God, I just thank you for this morning and this time with these very special ladies, Lord. And I just thank you for the time to be able to just sit and to learn more about you and get to know you better, and let you just love on us for a little bit, and we love on each other, Lord. And I just thank you for each soul here that's willing to come and just to do that, just to learn and try and grow closer to you, Lord. Lord, I pray for a vision this week. I pray that you give us each a vision of what you want us to do. We've talked about us being the girl for the job and being giving glory to you, Lord. Show us what that is. Be tangible, be real. Let somebody speak into our life. Let us read something where we know it's you, Lord. Or give us a vision in our head, or a dream, or a song, or a word, anything that you want us to do for you. Because we're not here to sit and soak. We're not here to just take advantage of our Christianity like the ones in Iran that can't, Lord. It's just really hit me hard how blessed we are to be able to sit here and worship you and pray to you right here in this living room, and others can't. Lord, I pray for these people in Iran, and I just pray for their hearts and the ones that are trying to serve you and trying to love you and trying to teach others about you. Lord, give them strength and protect them, and help us not to forget how blessed we are that we are able to do this freely, and that we are able to have Bibles in our home and read them freely, and that we're able to talk about you. And Lord, help us not to forget that when we walk outside this door and we keep it all to ourselves. What a shame. Help us not to do that, but to be loud and proud for you, our Savior, the one who teaches us which way to go, and the one who loves us, and the one who died for us. Lord, I know you would die for me if I was the only one here. And I just thank you for my salvation. I thank you for the way you love me in spite of me being a sinner, because I don't deserve it. I don't deserve any of it. I thank you for bridging that gap, Lord, by sending your Son, Jesus. Lord, thank you for loving us. Thank you for taking care of us. Thank you for each and every heart in this room. I pray that you take them and carry them through the week, and that they be bold and loud for Christ. And I pray that people come up and say, what is wrong with you? What is up with you? I want to know. What have you got that I don't have? Lord, help us to shine bright. Help someone to come and say that, and help us to have the words to be able to answer it, just to be able to witness and testify for what you are doing for us and doing in our life. And we tend to forget that we're blessed, that we have all these things, and it's from you. And we know that in a hot minute it can all be gone. But Lord, your salvation, your love for us will not be. We love you. I pray for those that aren't here today. I pray that you bless them and carry them and help them feel loved as well. And bring us all back in a couple weeks to finish up this study and help us to go out to the world and live on mission. We love you. Amen.
Amen. That's beautiful. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm not teary.
I need to change my.
I want to pray in my language one time.
Oh, yes. Okay. I want you to. Hang on a minute. Let me get Yes. All right, let's do it.
I would be blessed.
Oh,
And
I love
God
that.
knows what you're saying.
Yes.
What are you doing, man?
I'm trying to get a different pair of glasses. Sorry. I know this is the most important. I know. Those look too
You
much.
can have all of them.
Well, those look too much like
Right,
that.
I'm so excited.
Okay, this is awesome.
Yeah.
خدایا عیسی مسیح خیلی از تو سپاسگزاریم به خاطر جانهای مقدسی که به ما بخشیدی، برای اینکه به همه انسانها کمک میکنی و به همشون کمک کردی که بدونن راه واقعی زندگی چیه. امیدوارم به مردم ایران هم کمک کنی تا بفهمن که راه روشن از راه تاریکی کدومه و راه درست رو انتخاب بکنن. به مردم ایران لطفاً کمک کن که از دست این آخوندا راحت بشن و از دست این اسلامی که بهشون تحمیل شده نجات پیدا بکنن. همچنین ازت خواهش میکنم کمک بهشون بکن که از دست این بیماری کرونا که توسط چینیا بهشون تحمیل شده نجات پیدا بکنن و بفهمن که چقدر روسیه و چین دشمنان خطرناکی هستن و تا کنون چقدر آمریکا بهشون خدمت کرده. Thank you به خاطر هر چیزی که تو در این زندگی به ما بخشیدی and ازت سپاسگزارم. به نام عیسی مسیح.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Thank you for sharing.